a wonderful crowd assembled here today in downtown Denver to look at the New York Sirens taking on the Minnesota Frost. We already mentioned Nicole Hensley, but Kaylee Osborne will be on the other side of the ice. Kaylee Osborne, by the way, has played in 18 of New York's 19 games. Today will be number 19 for the New York netminder. And the local girl, Nicole Hensley, getting the start for Minnesota. We are underway on the Takeover Tour. Stop number 11 of 16 games at neutral sites across North America. And the second time this season that Denver has welcomed the PWHL. Maya Nyland-Person across from Micah Zandy Hart as the Sirens captain sends it the length of the ice. It'll go for icing.
An early, fast start for New York is going to be key here today.
New York wins the draw, bank it off the boards and try to chip it out, but it'll sail into the crowd. They're going to say it deflected up. Ken Klee also spent a year playing for the Colorado Avalanche, and actually they're going to say that did not deflect off of anything, so it's going to be an early delay of game penalty against the Sirens. Christina Kolchenkova going to the box for that. We'll take another look here, and sure enough, did not catch the glass.
Great angle there by our crew, and Coach Fargo said we're going to try not to take a lot of penalties today, and they take one just moments into this one, and Minnesota, their power play third best in the league.
So this power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towel. Power through tough messes. And in the first minute of play, the top power play in the game is going to work. Britta Curl out to Kelly Panic. She'll go up high. Sydney Morin across, and the shot sealed off by Osborne. New York with the clear, cut off in the neutral zone by Morin, and right back come the Frost. It's Katie Knoll. Stops up, looks for a lane, and a little miscommunication there as the puck goes all the way back into the Minnesota end.
Yeah, Sydney Morin was coming off for a change, and she didn't see that pass was coming her way, and smart job by her to quickly hop onto the bench to avoid a too many skaters penalty.
Taylor Heisey, right, great look for Abby Hustler. Osborne was there. Hustler gets it back. Grace Zumwinkle, beautiful feed, trying to connect right in front, but unable to do so. It was Mae Batherson on the doorstep.
I mean, look at how quickly Minnesota's power play unit collapsed in front of the net there and created such a small space to work. Osborne having to be sharp there. Minnesota trying to make the ice small in front of her and try to get something in tight, but New York shuts the door for now.
Jinsey Rose able to bank it off the boards out to her teammate. Maddie Wheeler clears it for the Sirens. Short-handed chance, and all alone is Sarah Fillier, but she missed the net.
Well, they've got 3 on the season, but Fillier can't cash in there.
A brilliant opportunity for another jailbreak goal for the Sirens. Still a very good penalty kill as the final seconds tick away on the penalty to Kolchenkova. Right back in comes Anissa Shisheva. Shisheva couldn't quite get all of it, and then that shot hit the side of the net off the stick of Natalie Bookbinder.
Well, nice job by Shisheva. Didn't really have anywhere to go with that puck and just kind of throws it across, hoping somebody gets to it, and Minnesota gets an okay look at it. Just hit the outside of the cage. Good stops and a short-handed chance.
Especially for a team that has struggled on both sides of the special teams battle, as New York has really throughout the season. They rank 6th on the power play and 7th on the PK. Back to even strength now as Vanessa Upson looks for a lane. Himlerova. Shisheva tries to wrap it around. Osborne is there. Haley Osborne, certainly been quite the workhorse for the Sirens. We mentioned today is her 19th game playing in some form, whether starting or coming on in relief. And that's the way she likes it. There's a look at Peyton Anderson, who flips it out now for the Frost. Grew up in Arvada, Colorado, another suburb of Denver.
Well, I like her game plan. Gets her first PWHL goal the other night. Takes a little pressure off today, Jamie.
Exactly. And another whistle here.
Yeah, we're going to get a tripping call, I believe. This is going to go against New York.
New York, number 14, minor
Yeah, not at all what you want when you're trying to slow down one of the elite power plays in the league.
Yeah, so Budarak kind of comes off the wall here, and Bourbonnais just gets the stick across the midsection. Budarak goes down to the ice. Easy call for the official. And
we should mention, too, New York is without one of its top scorers and top players in Casey O'Brien. Minnesota trying to take advantage of that. Riticuro settles. Out to Kelly Panic. She plays catch with Mooring. Curl trying to set it right in front. Osborne paddle to the side.
Yeah, and that stick forced that puck not across cleanly. If that would gotten to the back door cleanly, Minnesota probably would have had an easy tap-in goal.
Steck line. As Panic comes back to collect the puck. Minnesota will reset with Sid Morin surveying the landscape. 5 minutes gone on this takeover tour stop here in Denver. Hustler to Taylor Heisey. Heisey going around the net and up high for Kendall Cooper. Out to Mae Batherson. Her shot right on, turned aside by Osborne. Rebound pops into the corner, dug out by Zumwinkle. Grace Zumwinkle tried to send it for Batherson, who was unable to handle it. .27 seconds to go on the second penalty already today against the Sirens. Looks like Zumwinkle was a bit offside, and so New York will take that opportunity to clear it.
Yeah, not a very clean zone entry there, and that is going to kill most of the rest of this power play clock.
Himlarova has it taken away by New York. It's Jinsey Rose. Bobbled it for a moment. Upson trying to hold the zone for Minnesota. They jam away along the boards, and the penalty is up. Just one shot allowed by the Sirens PK.
Not how they wanted to start this game, killing back-to-back penalties essentially, but they do their job and kill it off, and even got that Fillier shorthanded chance on that first penalty kill.
Minnesota continuing to hold the zone as Shisheva goes to the goal line. Back out to Bookbinder. That puck hit Rose on the way.
Well, Osborne's eyes were completely taken away there, and New York able to clear that puck out of harm's way for her.
Jinsey Rose up ahead to Anna Bargman. Now New York looking for its first sustained ozone time. That shot from Savannah Norcross found a body in front. Maddie Wheeler to Norcross. Shot kicked out by Hensley.
Great read by Hensley, comes out way at the top of the crease and gets the pad on it. Nicole Hensley's tough to beat on a normal night, but you know she's going to have a little extra pep in her step in this game, Jamie.
Another chance for Vespa. And Hensley grabs it with the glove. The Colorado native looking sharp early. We'll be right back. They're already playing without one of their top players in Casey O'Brien. She's officially listed as day-to-day. It sounds like she got banged up their last time out against Ottawa last Sunday and is not on the trip so far.
Man, Coach Fargo said it's huge to not have her in the lineup. She's been so consistent, he said, and she's got points in 5 of her last 6 games. And to have a player that you can rely on, that you know any given night can get you points, when they're not in the lineup, you notice their absence, and he's hoping that some players can help fill those shoes until she's back.
Absolutely. For those of you who may not know, Casey O'Brien won the Patty Kazmaier last year, which goes to the top player in women's college hockey. And then New York liked her so much, they actually traded up for her at the draft and were able to draft her 3rd overall. So certainly a critical piece to the puzzle for the New York Sirens. Colton Kova's shot steered aside by Hensley. And this is the first of a 4-game road trip, so again, they're hoping to get Casey O'Brien to join them at some point this trip as the net comes off its moorings.
Yeah, Maddie Rooney got the last start when Minnesota was back home against Seattle. The last game Nicole Hensley played in. was a 4-0 shutout loss to Montreal. But Coach Clee said she played pretty well in that game. Minnesota just wasn't able to capitalize on enough of their own chances, and things ended up not going their way, but he was overall pleased with her performance.
Steckline looking for a tip in front. It sails wide of the net. Maddie Wheeler able to chip it out for the Sirens. Up ahead now for Peyton Levis. Top of the slot. Levis tries the shot. Pad save Hensley. Lindsay Rose trying to center for Levis. Bouncing puck. Hensley able to get a piece of it.
Seems like New York's trying to take Hensley's eyes away a little bit on that Wheeler chance, and then even the second chance. A lot of bodies right to the net as they waited for that shot to come in, trying to make life difficult for Nicole Hensley.
Abby Hustler crunched along the boards. Vanessa Upson settles for Minnesota. That shot bouncing just wide with Hustler net front. The game of ebbs and flows. Minnesota had the first 5 shots on net, and then New York had the last 5. Now they score! Grace Sumwinkle gets the Frost on the board first, and it's 1-0.
Grace Sumwinkle, her 7th goal of the season, her first goal in the last 4 games, and great play along the wall to peel away from the pressure. And I don't really know how that went in, Jamie. That was pretty nasty. She's on the goal line. Look at this move. Pulls it back in front and then up and over the shoulder of Osborne, who just gave her just enough of that upper part of the net to shoot at. And Grace Sumwinkle said, that's all I need. I'm going to put that puck right in there. It scores her 7th of the season, and Minnesota again in front early. And so far in the season series, Jamie, between New York and Minnesota, New York has yet to play with a lead.
Yeah, Minnesota has made it a habit of scoring early and often. 21 first period goals now. Just incredible. By far the most in the PWHL. And you're right, there was not much daylight for Sumwinkle to shoot at there. Just a brilliant goal.
But Osborne playing that a little lower because you assume at that point they're going to take it around the net. You don't expect the shot to come from there, which is why she was defending more down low. And Sumwinkle fools her with the shot and ends up getting that puck to go in the back of the net for the 1-0 Minnesota Frost lead here in Denver.
Madison Bazal and Kendall Cooper with the assist, but it was a pretty much an individual effort. Grace Sumwinkle showing how elite she can be as a stick handler and a sniper. Pass cut off by Morin, and she'll flip it in on goal. Osborne opts to hang on.
Lucky number 7 goal of the season. No luck there, though. That's all skill. Once things settled down and they stayed out of the box, they found their rhythm a little bit. Minnesota coming back with some good shifts of their own and getting that Grace Sumwinkle goal. So now New York has to reset here and see if they can get back in this one.
Now you mentioned it, New York all too familiar with playing from behind. They actually have now allowed 20 first period goals, which is the most in the PWHL. Not the best recipe for success, but they are known to battle back.
And it's now the 13th time this season they've allowed the first goal in the game. They only have 2 regulation wins when they've done that. So they have their work cut out for them early here, but sometimes being in a new environment like this changes things, Jamie. We'll see if that helps them at all.
And Sherkowski takes it in now for the Sirens. Micah Zandihart below the goal line to play it around. Pass cut off by Taylor Gerard. Colton Kovo will come out to the neutral zone to settle it.
And a great stick there by Taylor Heisey high in the zone to break that pass up and help force it out of the zone.
Great Sumwinkle. Tried to chip it in, but it deflects up and out of play.
For the players who've been through it, it's exciting to kind of be in a new position. For the players that are new on the team, they get to feed and thrive off of that energy as well. And it's going to be fun to see if New York makes the playoffs for the first time this year.
Sarah Fillier takes a bit of a chop from Grace Zumwinkle able to get back on her feet. Keep an eye on that matchup. Some nastiness early. Kristen O'Neill gets the shot on net. Bobbled momentarily by Hensley, but she recovers in time to grab it.
That took kind of a tough bounce on her right as it got to her. We'll see. I don't know if it rolled off her stick or if it deflected off something else. Here's a look as O'Neill grabs this, and it deflects off of a Minnesota player's stick. And Hensley has to react as Kendall Cooper trying to keep it away from her goaltender accidentally tips it towards her.
She's one of those veteran players Greg Fargo mentioned as being part of the glue in New York's system. El Harchi sends it deep now for New York. Scooped up by Kelly Panic. Out to Sydney Morin. Morin up ahead. Pass is cut off by Harchi. Recollected by Panic. Panic shot ends up deflecting on the way, and a nice little stick play by Jamie Bourbonnais.
Yeah, that's twice now she's made some really good plays defensively there, and that time got the stick in the way.
New York trying to dig it out in their own end. O'Neill joins the fight. And the fans along the boards loving the up-close and personal look at some of their favorite players. They'll blow it dead as it took too long to break that puck free.
Coach Fargo said they were prepared for this to kind of feel like a road game in the sense that Minnesota's got 3 Colorado natives with Klee and the 2 players. And so they were ready for that here today.
Taylor Gerard hands it off to Bourbonnais. They'll trade places as Bourbonnais rings it around the boards to Colton Kova. Colton Kova looking for a lane. Has Simpson. And Cherkowski along the boards with Katie Knoll. Cherkowski able to deliver the pass to Bourbonnais. Colton Kova trying to settle the puck, and the whistle blows.
I think we've got a delayed penalty here. Interference is going to go against New York. Again, this is now their 3rd penalty.
New York, number 20, minor penalty, interference.
This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel.
New York Sirens.
Osborne tried to clear it off the boards. Minnesota able to hold momentarily before Colton Kova sends it the length of the ice.
And like we talked about earlier, Jamie, being on the penalty kill isn't always about, it's more opportunity to give up goals, or you do give up the goals. It's just about getting out of the flow, and New York can't get into a flow if they're going to continue to march to the box here.
Warren looking to center. Nobody in the slot for Minnesota. Grace Zumwinkle. Check that, Kelly Panic. Centering pass. Heisey was there. Make it Britta Curl. And now Morin settles along the blue line. Here's Panic.
Britta Curl is ready to pound that thing home on the back door. They're trying to get it across to her, but the lane's all clogged.
Kelly Panic, who had a power play goal a couple of games ago. One-timer from Steckline, and a save for Osborne. Minnesota still, I was going to say hold the zone, but what an effort by Kristen O'Neill to clear it. .40 seconds to go on the 3rd Minnesota power play of the afternoon. Kendall Cooper gains the zone for the Frost. Off the end boards over to Zumwinkle. And Abby Hustler back down low for Heisey. Heisey out to Peyton Anderson. They play catch. And a blast that was blocked by Fillier. Heisey got all of that. Now Batherson. Heisey settles. Down to Zumwinkle and back to Heisey. Off the skate of Batherson. And the penalty is up. Batherson trying to keep things alive now for Minnesota. Puck comes out into the neutral zone, and 2 shots on that 3rd power play. A chance steered aside by Osborne. It was Vanessa Upson bearing down in a hurry.
was a great backhand look.
Now Bookbinder, and her shot blocked by Kaltunkova. Nifty little backhand try there by Himlarova, but nobody home for the Frost. Kaltunkova with speed catches up to the loose puck, but they were in offside.
And see, that's what power plays can do as well. It's not always scoring on the power play. It's the momentum you get from it that you carry into the 5-on-5 that comes after. Minnesota buzzing a little bit here.
Madison Bazal lost an edge and went crashing into the end boards, but gets up and appears to be okay. She'll head to the bench for a change as Cherkowski tries to enter the zone for New York. Dale Ross to settle it down now for the Sirens. Minute and a half to go here in the first period. Grace Zumwinkle with her 7th of the season to get the Frost on the board early. Kelly Panic. First pass attempt blocked on the way. One-on-one battle. Maddie Wheeler entering the zone, takes it around the net. And now Levis drops it off for Zandy Hart. Back to Wheeler. Wheeler slides it across. Zandy Hart right in front, but couldn't get the shot off cleanly. And Hensley was there to make sure that stayed out.
It was more of a little one-touch pass towards the net than an actual shot, and it was a good-looking play.
New York has certainly had its looks, but unable to find the back of the net so far.
Yeah, I mean, I would say New York's had maybe 3 or 4 pretty good looks so far today, even though it feels like Minnesota's controlled this first period. The opportunity has been there for New York, and Hensley's come up with some big saves when they've needed her to.
Actually surprising to see the shots are only 10-8 in favor of the Frost, and that's with 3 power play opportunities. Osborne comes out to pounce on that loose puck. And at this point, with 23 ticks on the clock, I'm sure they're thinking we just got to get to the room and reset for the second period. Izzy with the draw, back to Hustler. Kaltunkova to scoop it up behind her own net. Steckline with O'Neill bearing down on her. O'Neill aggressive on the forecheck.
Yeah, it's tough to get a vet like Steckline to cough up the puck in that situation. She's going to, more often than not, calmly get that pass across.
And the horn sounds on period number 1. Don't go anywhere. The PWHL Takeover Tour continues from Ball Arena here in downtown Denver.
As I mentioned back in the first period, Osborne probably, assuming she's going to take that puck around the net, was defending down low. Zumwinkler goes high and gives her team a 1-0 lead. And Minnesota has yet to take a penalty, though, so we'll see how that changes over the course of the rest of this game.
Going to stay strong here against the Sirens. The puck is down, and here we go in the second period on this Takeover Tour stop in Denver. Maya Nyland-Person chasing it down in her own end. Kaltunkova trying to play it ahead for Gerard.
And right at the start of the period, we want a team chant breaking out.
And they score just like that. It's 2-0. 22 seconds into the second period. Taylor Heisey continues her scoring streak. It's 2-0 Minnesota.
Well, that's 3 straight games now for Taylor Heisey with a goal, her 6th goal of the season. She had 20 points coming into the day, and here's another look at it. Osborne defending that pipe over there, and again, just kind of a weird goal, and that one's even more odd. I mean, the Zumwinkle goal was just a nice shot in a tough angle. That one was just kind of a weird goal, but Heisey will take that goal either way. That extends the lead for the Minnesota Frost, and like you said, Jamie, not how you wanted things to go if you're the New York Sirens, giving up an early goal here in the second period.
And a rare misplay by Kaylee Osborne, who is so strong in between the pipes. Britta Curl looking to add to this lead as that shot's kicked out by Osborne. Taylor Heisey, who just scored on Friday with an empty netter, has goals in back-to-back games now. Gazal. Into the zone comes Claire Budarak, stick handling in and just missed. New York trying to settle things down here. Bargman crunched along the boards by Becker. It has not been as lopsided as the score shows. New York with plenty of good looks. They've had 3 successful penalty kills, and yet they find themselves trying to climb back from down 2.
Well, it was an odd period. It felt like Minnesota could have been up by more, but it also felt like New York could have had the lead going into that first intermission, and it's pretty unusual to feel that way after 1 period of play. So Minnesota finds a way to extend the lead here early in the period.
Norcross tried to center, nobody home for New York, and shots are actually 4-0 in favor of Minnesota this period. New York player going hard into the end boards is Dale Ross. Lost an edge and crashed into the boards. Bookbinder winds it in now for the Frost. Shisheva. Bookbinder. Back to Shisheva. And Heisey chops it down low. New York trying to clear instead. Panic was right there. And another brilliant stick play by New York defender Jamie Bourbonnais.
Well, the keep-in by Sydney Morin was incredible. And then the play out front.
And Cherkowski's shot turned aside.
And yeah, Bourbonnais has been great here today. Maybe the best player for New York, at least defensively.
Bouncing puck into the corner. Panic is there. Hands it off to Morin. Bookbinder to play it out for the Frost. For the curl, and Micah Zandyhart both took a tumble. El Harchi trying to center. Hensley's down. Sarah Fillier looking for a lane, throws it toward the net. El Harchi was there, but it deflects wide. Well, you feel like if Fillier maybe gotten a shot off a little quicker there when Hensley was down, could have led to some chaos. Zandyhart, first shot deflects wide, picked up by O'Neill, feeds Nyland Person. Nyland Person walks the blue line. O'Neill thought about a shot, instead drops it off. Villiers takes it out. The shot from Rose just off the mark.
Good shift here by New York. Their best of the period, one of their better ones in the entire game so far as well.
No quit in this team. Here's Kayla Vespa. To Rose. Lengthy shift as that shot is also turned aside. Another chance. Vespa trying to get the shot off. So too was Lauren Bernard. We got some tired Minnesota defenders on the ice looking for a change.
Looks like they're going to get 2 skaters off, both of them forwards though.
Fresh legs onto the ice for the Sirens, trying to keep the pressure on. It's Levis who rings it around the boards. Koltenkova tried to find somebody. Now she's going to try to get the puck back in the neutral zone. Able to do so to Cherkowski. Now Koltenkova from the circle shoots. Save Hensley. Rebound pops loose. And Minnesota able to clear it.
Well, Nicole Hensley was nearly at the face-off dot when she came out to make that save. And if she wouldn't have cut that angle off the way she did, New York might have cut this lead to 1.
Now Minnesota trying to settle things down on their end. Cooper a blast from range, and Osborne was there.
That's exactly the shift that Coach Fargo talked about, wanting his team to play. You mentioned the word chaos. That's the word he used too. They needed to create chaos to beat this Minnesota team. You really saw that for the first time here today on that last shift.
Puck comes deep into the Frost zone. Hensley calmly hands it off to Cooper. Off the boards. Peyton Anderson trying to beat the icing and will not be able to do so.
And Coach Fargo talked about how sharp Minnesota is defensively, how it's so hard to get behind them, and that if they want to make something happen, they need to create some chaos. And there's a look at a big save by Nicole Hensley. Nice pass, and then the shot comes in, and Hensley way at the top of her crease there to come up with a big save. They just showed Wedgwood in the crowd with his daughters. Colorado Avalanche player cheering on the teams here today. Minnesota up 2-0. Are we ever going to stop making history, Jamie? It seems like every day we're checking things off the list over here.
Up, up, up. Up and away. Here we are. Shot from Nyland Person, looking for a tip in front. It's off of Heisey as O'Neill collects. Katie Knoll unable to clear it out for the Frost. Instead, Fillier finds Zambi Hart. That puck found O'Neill on the way. O'Neill a bit slow to get up, but back come the Frost. 3-on-2. Shisheva to Cooper into the glove of Osborne. Now New York trying to create something off the rush, but Bourbonnet's pass right onto the tape of Madison Bazal. And Effecto has her shot deflect high and off the glass.
Good stick there by Cindy Moore, and I like that New York took the shot. Sometimes when you get down in a game, you start trying to get too cute with the play, trying to force it. Instead, she just takes the shot, gets it towards the net. It didn't work on that sequence, but better than making one too many passes.
New York able to ring it around the boards. Nearing the midway point of this game. Still looking for their first goal to beat the Colorado native Nicole Hensley. Deck line. Kelly Panic. One-timer crash, she scores! What a blast! And it's 3-0 Minnesota.
Holy, somebody clocked the speed on that thing. That was a bomb. I think they might have heard that doink back in Minnesota from the way that came in off the pipe. I mean, another great play by Minnesota. They force the turnover. They waste no time getting into the slot. And Britta Curl, who's got a heck of a shot, just absolutely blast that one over the glass. And I mean blast. I do not use that lightly here because that was a shot. And that is her 8th goal of the season. She had 9 all of last year and is already close to reaching that mark. She was 3rd on the team coming into today.
Wow.
With goals, and that was pretty.
If we get another look at that, check out how the puck is actually rolling on its way. It just timed out perfectly where she was able to get all of that. Incredible.
So Minnesota gets an early second period goal to double the lead, and then Britta Curl almost blasts one through the back of the net to make it 3-0.
And if you're New York, you've got to be thinking, what do we have to do to get back in this game? Because it hasn't felt like they've been out of it.
No, it does not feel as lopsided as the scoreboard would indicate right now. It feels like they are right there and have had some decent looks even in the second period. And just have not been able to beat Nicole Hensley, who's kind of looking for a get-right game. Gave up 4 goals in her last start against Montreal, and she wants to get back in the win column, especially in her home state.
Yeah, the Sirens look like they're getting goalied this afternoon. Hensley, a perfect 13 saves on 13 shots to this point. Anderson, the other Colorado native. Off the boards and up to Morin. Another point for Kelly Panic, by the way, who delivered the beautiful feed over to Britta Curl. Here's Sarah Fillier. Gains the zone, checks over her shoulder to see who's coming. Fillier tries the short side. Hensley had it sealed off.
That was a good look by one of the best in the league, and Sarah Fillier trying to get tricky. And now Minnesota's going to take a penalty. So New York, here's their opening. The door is cracked open.
Number 7, minor penalty, tripping.
And like you said, Jamie, you knew the next one's probably going to go the way of New York. Now you've got your chance. Minnesota had 3 power plays in that first period. And New York is able to draw one here, keep their skates moving. And Budarak will sit for 2. New York would love to get on the scoreboard here with the power play goal. That would stop the bleeding a little bit here.
This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel.
Minnesota penalty, number 7.
Has not been a strong suit for this Sirens squad as they enter the day sitting 7th in terms of power play efficiency. We're looking to change that right now. And Cherkowski sends it into herself. Kelly Panic there to disrupt the play. Here's Fillier. Low to high, out to Nyland Person. Cherkowski back to Nyland Person. They'll trade places as the puck goes over to Fillier. Nyland Person. Fillier, one-time chance, gobbled up by Hensley.
I mean, good setup there by New York, but they didn't put any bodies in front of Nicole Hensley there. She's probably going to say that might be one of the easiest saves of the night. If she can see the shot back cleanly, it's going to be tough to beat her. Here's a look at it. They bring it over to Cherkowski, top of the circle. Look at that, not even a stick in the lane. And Nicole Hensley is gladly going to make that save almost 100% of the time.
Panic able to win the draw back to Cooper. As Himlarova clears it now for the cross. Halfway through the New York power play. Jamie Bourbonnais to start things now on the advantage. Maddie Wheeler will send it in. Hensley out to play it. Another clear for Shisheva. Minnesota has been pretty decent on the penalty kill. End of the day with the 6th best PK at 80%. As Peyton Levis enters the zone now for the Sirens. Off the end boards and over to Kristen O'Neill.
Oh man, her stick broke on her.
Been that kind of day for the Sirens so far. Just right there, but unable to execute at the most opportune times. Haley Osborne pressured a bit by Katie Knoll there. Turnover as Bourbonnais is able to settle it down. Just one shot on goal for the New York power play, and the penalty is up. May Batherson crunched along the boards. Grace Zumwinkle to hold the zone now for Minnesota. Fell to the ice. That shot found the pad of Osborne.
That play kind of developed oddly. Minnesota never really got a clean stick on it, and still it almost caused some trouble.
Zumwinkle with time and space, shoots and scores! Grace Zumwinkle with her 2nd of the day, and Minnesota opens up a 4-0 lead.
Another beauty of a shot, beats Osborne. Grace Zumwinkle's 3rd multi-point game of the season. She had just 2 total last year. And she's now up to 8 goals on the year. That's double from what she finished last season with. And that extends the lead to 4. That's now back-to-back games. Minnesota has scored 4 goals. The last 2 goals were just beauty of a shot. And they have now made it a 4-0 game. You talked about some of their high-scoring outputs. They came out of the Olympic break getting shut out, then scored 3 in that overtime win against Toronto. And now the last 2 games, they've scored 4 goals, and they've seemed to found their scoring touch again.
Well, we all wondered what the energy level was going to be like coming out of that lengthy Olympic break, specifically for the players who didn't get an Olympic break. Well, guess what? All 4 goals today came off the sticks of Olympic gold medalists. 2 of them from Grace Zumwinkle, Taylor Heisey, and Britta Curl, all involved today.
to Ball Arena for the PWHL Takeover Tour between the Minnesota Frost and the New York Sirens. The Frost with a commanding 4-0 lead more than halfway through this game. I'm now here with Minnesota Frost head coach Ken Klee. Coach, what can you attribute this offensive outburst to back-to-back games for your crew where you've scored 4 goals?
Yeah, I mean, we're just doing the little things well. When you put pucks into good areas, and obviously we have a lot of good shooters. So I think we're moving our feet well. We just got to stay on it.
Well, thanks so much, Kenny. Good luck in the second.
You bet. Thank you.
Yeah, they're moving their feet well. They're shooting well. They are doing just about everything right to this point. But with 7 minutes-ish left in the second period, there is still plenty of time. Although New York is going to have to collect themselves in a hurry. And the hits just keep coming for New York.
Yeah, this is not good. She went down, kind of a collision right along the wall there.
And as you mentioned, not even necessarily a contact play, just kind of another fluky moment. Let's take this opportunity to check in with Rachel Toss, who's got a special person with her.
Yeah, special guest here. I have Avalanche goaltender Scott Wedgwood here with his daughter, and they are enjoying a fun family day with some PWHL hockey. Scott, what are your first impressions of this game?
Different. It's hard to find my seat. I was walking around trying to find sex and stuff. It's a little bit easier when you're in the room, but no, it's awesome. I mean, as soon as I got here, we won a team chance started. They had that last year as well. So, great pace of play. Just obviously saw that injury kind of sucks, but Minnesota's up and New York's got to find a way.
Yeah, we're talking about that injury with Gerard being taken off the ice, and then you were telling me off camera how scary that can be, being put on a stretcher. You've had that happen to yourself before.
Yeah, once. Just obviously, they take precautions. You got trained medical staff that know more than you. And just obviously, like taking it into their hands. You want all the precautions and all the safety measures taken first and foremost, and not causing any more damage. So, great staff everywhere I've been, and we'll take care of her, and hopefully nothing too major.
Women's hockey is supposed to be different from men's hockey. From this impression, how do you think that it differs?
Not much, honestly. I think just from we got here at the end of the first, but they make the same plays, they run the same structures. Watching it from a goalie's eye, and even the speed of the game, it's picked up. I think from years past when I would first watch it and watch the Olympics, it's honestly great hockey, and it'd be awesome if Denver can find a way to bring a team here.
And Scott, as a dad to 2 daughters, what does it mean to you to see the growth of the sport for girls and women?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, my wife played in Canada just, growing up until she switched and it kind of ended, and, see this as an option. And my wife says no goalies out of the 2 of them, but outside of that, I think, just the way our life is and how important hockey is, they'll have an opportunity to get into it and see if they like it.
No goalies, why not?
I don't think her heart can take it. I can take it. I don't think her heart can take it.
All right, well, thanks so much, Scott. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Coming into today, they had 10 goals scored in the first or final minute of a period, which could be such back-breaking, game-changing plays. They get another one here to start the second, and that's where things really shifted here in this matchup in Denver.
And we're going to get another penalty here. Looks like it'll be a second power play for New York.
Minnesota, number 13, minor penalty for tripping.
So things starting to even out a little bit here in the penalty category as New York took the first 3. Minnesota took the last 2. Zumwinkel, you see there, got the skates in on Hartje.
New York 0 for 1 on the day on the advantage as this power play is brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel. Fillier
Minnesota penalty.
connects with Maya Nyland-Person up high. She tries a shot, bouncing puck. Hensley was down momentarily, but the puck trickled harmlessly into the corner.
Well, it changed direction on her. She just so happened to be in the right spot still to make the save.
Now Fillier's shot blocked by Cooper. Nyland-Person collects out to Cherkowski. Cherkowski looking for a deflection from Koltunkova. Bounces into the corner. Fillier to Nyland-Person. They play catch and trade spots on the ice. Here's Fillier driving toward the net. Centering pass. Deflects wide. And Cherkowski. Nyland-Person. Back to Cherkowski. Here's Sarah Fillier. Again, trying that tip in front for Koltunkova, but Minnesota's doing a good job blocking pucks on the way.
Well, they seem to learn their lesson from their last power play New York did, where they weren't getting bodies to the front of the net, taking away Nicole Hensley's eyes. On this power play so far, they are getting bodies out front and have been able to create some disruption in the sight line for the Minnesota netminder.
New York trying to build off an impressive 6-2 victory their last time out. But unfortunately for them, unable to beat Nicole Hensley today as another pad save is made. Jamie Bourbonnais. Cross to Maddie Wheeler. Bourbonnais. Allison Simpson. Still looking for a lane, tries the shot. Hensley gets a piece. Bourbonnais able to hold it in. Now Wheeler, right in front, it's Levis. Hensley's there. Bouncing puck, and Hensley recovers just in time.
How did she even know where that was? That puck forced her out of her crease. She was kind of on her stomach. Here's another look at the whole sequence. So the initial shot comes from the top of the circle. Right here, Hensley's out of position now. Now she's got to turn around and find it. She's got about 4 players in her crease. And somehow, she's able to find this puck. This is going to be a great angle of it here, the bird's eye view. And I mean, that's just great heads-up goaltending by Nicole Hensley. It's really hard to get back in position once you're so far out of the play like Hensley was there. And I don't know how she found that. I have no words left, Jamie.
And Britta Curl took quite a collision there from Allison Simpson, who was, again, just trying to create chaos in front of the net. Speaking of blasts, one off the stick of Taylor Heisey just missed. Some rough stuff happening today here at Ball Arena. But we've come to expect that on a nightly basis in the PWHL. That shot into the glove of Kaylee Osborne, and
almost found them their first goal of the game, but you said it earlier, Jamie, sometimes in hockey you just get goalied, and it's one of the most beautiful and ugliest parts of the game is that sometimes you can have the game of your life, and if a goalie is on their A game, it can be tough to beat them.
Grace Zumwinkle fighting off Sarah Fillier, throws it toward the net. They jam away in front, but the puck comes out to Kaltenkova. Jinsey Rose, bothered by Hustler, still able to deliver the pass up to Kaltenkova. Cherkowski tries to find Fillier. Bernard there. Now Batherson has Hustler there to play it out for the Frost. Final minute here in the second period. Period that has been dominated, at least in terms of goals, by the Minnesota Frost. 3 goals in the middle frame. And that has turned this game upside down. New York time, maybe for one final push. Levis has O'Neill. O'Neill shoots, save, Hensley!
Hensley's feeling it today, Jamie.
And I think by the reaction of this crowd, you're right, Alexis, there are a lot of people cheering for the Frost in this city of Denver, Colorado. And of course, the local girl playing hero in Nicole Hensley. And of course, bring you all the highlights and some analysis, including player reaction from this second period. Stay tuned.
The team to play that way. He expects the team to play that way. They've also got more double-digit points getters than any other team in the league, so this is not uncommon for Minnesota. They're just doing it again here today against a New York team who is still trying to find their game, but it feels like they're right there. It just is down by 4. Too insurmountable of a comeback at this point with just 1 period to go.
And here we go on the third period. Going back to Nicole Hensley. We asked Ken Klee before the game if he talked to her and gave her any sort of message about playing in such an emotional game because it's her first time playing in front of her hometown crowd. He said, I know better than that. I don't get into that side of things. She's a professional. I'm sure she'll know how to handle the big moment, and my goodness, has she ever handled this big moment.
Yeah, he said some players aren't open to coaching sometimes in certain situations as a positive thing, as in they're just ready for it. They don't need you to tell them, and that was the case here today for Nicole Hensley.
Now the challenge for New York is to just get the next one.
Right.
You can't score 4 goals on one play, but you can try to chip away And we'll see how Greg Fargo's squad responds to a 4-0 deficit here in the third period.
Yeah, they've scored 3 or fewer goals 14 times this season, which is far more than you would want that number to be. They've still found ways to win in a lot of those situations, but a lot of times it's been a battle as far as the scoring goes. And here today, they've kind of resorted back to that type of game where goals are hard to come by.
Colton Kova is in, takes the shot. Hensley gets a piece with the glove.
Yeah, another great play by Keltun Kova. She's got a great shot, great speed, and just pushes that one to the outside, and Nicole Hensley got her glove on it to help direct it out of harm's way.
Zumwinkle trying to break out. Disrupted by Vespa, but finally able to do so. New York right back in. Now Grace Zumwinkle, already 2 today. We're on hat trick watch for number 13. Gets the shot off. Paddled aside by Osborne.
Well, she had the first hat trick in Minnesota Frost history.
In PWHL history.
In PWHL history, yes, that's right. The first home game for the Frost. Back then they were just PWHL Minnesota hosting Montreal. She scored 3 in that night.
Yeah, back on January 6th, 2024. And here we are, just over 2 years later, but into season 3 and getting better all the time. Today, part of this takeover tour, stop number 11, and we've got 16 total on the season. PWHL action coming to a city near you.
I can't believe they squeezed all our accolades into one read like that. That was pretty impressive.
And mom, of course, too. We should
have led
not
with that.
fail to mention that. Centering pass, but the shot a bit off the mark as Peyton Levis punts it down. Kristen O'Neill crunched along the boards by Madison Bazal. Sirens able to break it out. Simpson tries the shot, steered aside by Hensley. Simpson holds it in for the Sirens momentarily. Now Elizabeth Jaguar able to break it out.
And if you're just joining us again, no Casey O'Brien in the lineup today for New York. She got injured in their last game, and Taylor Gerard went out with what looked like a pretty serious injury, taken off on a stretcher in the second period.
Yeah, still waiting for any sort of updates on her status, but it is important to note, especially because that means that the Sirens are down a forward and one of their best goal scorers at that.
And Kelton Kova's going to take a penalty here.
Second penalty of the day on Colton Kova, the first overall pick in last year's draft.
Yeah, you see Noel got physical with her there along the boards, and Kelton Kova not happy with it. At this point in the game, you look back on those moments and wonder what that would have done for this game if that puck goes in the back of the net.
True. Sarah Fillier coming off a 3-point performance last Sunday against Ottawa. Game in New York won 6-2.
Yeah, her and Taylor Gerard each 2 goals in that game.
Sid Morin slides it across the stick line. They play catch as Morin feeds Britta Curl. One-timer Morin. Looked like it caught a body in front. Didn't quite get to Osborne.
I think Noel might have got a piece of that, but yeah, either way, it deflected off of somebody.
Fillier able to clear it out before getting into a shoving match with Kelly Panic. My goodness, things are chippy.
Yeah, and Kelly Panic's going to head to the box here, so this will even us up at 4-on-4 hockey for the next minute. Here's another look at it, but, you know, not surprised that things are a little chippy. New York's probably frustrated, and Minnesota's going to respond to any physicality thrown their way, and you see Kelly Panic getting a little too physical. She'll head to the box. Well, we got a little head scratch out of Greg Fargo after one penalty, and now the look by Ken Klee.
I love the animation of the coaches. So we're 4-on-4 here for the next 45 seconds or so. And then New York will get an abbreviated power play. Peyton Levis tried to feed Jinsey Rhodes, instead turns it over to Zumwinkle. Zumwinkle in all alone, stick handling in! And how did that stay out? My goodness, Kaylee Osborne.
That's a heck of a save. I mean, she was in all alone on her from the blue line, and Osborne down on the ice. The fans are getting another look at it here at Ball Arena, and here's your look at it at home. Zumwinkle goes to the backhand, can't elevate the puck, and Osborne keeps it in front of her and is able to get the whistle. Zumwinkle looking for the hat trick, and wow.
Just a little bit of elevation on that, and she would have had it.
Or if Osborne doesn't keep the pad down, she could have snuck it underneath. I mean, there was a couple ways that puck could have gone in the net. And Zumwinkle can't get it up, and Osborne is able to shut the door.
Puck comes all the way back to Nicole Hensley. 10 seconds to go, remaining on the penalty to Kaltunkova. And then just under a minute of power play time for the Sirens. Osborne out to play it. Kaltunkova out of the box. Here's El Harchi. This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel.
And this has turned into a highly penalized game. Minnesota doesn't take a lot of penalties, by the way. They average about under 2 per game, which is extremely low. But they've gotten into some rough stuff here, a couple tripping penalties. New York's taken their fair share of penalties, and we've seen a lot of power plays here in Ball Arena.
And Cherkowski lost it momentarily. Shisheva tries to clear. Fans on the clearing attempt. And now Cherkowski looking for a lane. As Levis' shot. Check that Fillier shot to flex wide. Cherkowski back to Fillier. Fillier. Steck line. Unable to clear. And penalty is up. No shots on that abbreviated New York power play. Cherkowski. Mike and Zandy Hart. Back to Cherkowski. Hit O'Neill in the slot and bounces into the corner. Kelly Panic fresh out of the box, able to clear the zone.
And Jamie, for as many power plays as we've seen, New York obviously doesn't have a goal yet in this game, and all 4 of Minnesota's goals have come even strength. So,
ooh, a heavy hit laid by Savannah Norcross. Physical game, and you know what better way to introduce yourself to a new fan base than things like that. Here's Britta Curl, and a save, rebound chance, and Curl crashes into the end boards. Shaken up momentarily, and back come the Sirens. Kayla Vespa, high and off the glass. Over to Norcross.
The good news is she went in pretty much completely horizontal, so not skates first, not head first, and is able to bounce back up and get back to the bench, okay?
Britta Curl, already a goal in this game. She's as tough as they come. And also with a goal, her 6th of the season, and Minnesota up 4-0.
It's interesting, Jamie. Last year, Minnesota could not beat New York. They had their number, even when New York wasn't playing that great of hockey. They always found a way to beat Minnesota. Minnesota beat them just once last year in 6 games. And this year, Minnesota has won both matchups, outscored them in those matchups, and has a 4-0 lead here in their 3rd meeting of the season.
Yeah, the first meeting was in New York, an overtime game winner scored by Kendall Coyne-Schofield, and then a 6-2 dominant effort by Minnesota back on January 25th against New York.
And those meetings came pretty close in succession. They met within about a week and a half of each other. So I was curious to see how they would play against each other later on in the season here. And it seems Minnesota has continued to kind of have their way with New York this season.
Well, they've got 2 meetings left as time winds down on the regular season. This is the first of a 4-game road trip for the Sirens. They'll go to Vancouver after this. And then they will travel to Seattle and Montreal, although that Seattle game is actually another takeover tour stop in Chicago.
And you'll be there for that game,
I'll be there. If you're in the Chicago area, come join us. It's a party.
I was there for the game earlier in the season, and it was a lot of fun.
Norcross tries the short side, ended up missing the net just wide. And we are just past the midway point of this third period. That shot dead on by Norcross. A great look, but Hensley once again denies her. How about that? 15,512 fans coming out to Ball Arena today in downtown Denver to make their case to be the next city with a PWHL team, and they have made a strong case for themselves at that. This is the third time that Denver has hosted the PWHL, and every time they've had a healthy crowd. The last time it was 11,600 fans. Last year when Minnesota was here, they had 14,000 fans, and again today, just over 15,500. Amazing. Another shot, that just missed the net off the stick of Madison Bazal. End-to-end action here, Alexis.
And this puck comes out of play, and yeah, New York, I love seeing the effort still. It's hard to keep the pace up and keep the effort up.
I think she's honestly just excited that she didn't get hit in the face with it.
That too.
That would be my reaction. Abby Hustler across the ice for Zumwinkle. Still on hat-trick watch, by the way. It's been a great afternoon here at Ball Arena. Maybe not as much for the Sirens players, and man, oh man, we are gonna get after it on the ice once more.
Are you not entertained? I mean, this is what you love, right? This is the kind of hockey I want to watch. And some more pushing and shoving, and Abby Hustler's gonna head to the box. She started kind of the practice down there, and New York didn't take too kindly to her extra shove. There's the penalty right there. And then a couple players come in, get involved, a little pushing and shoving, and the only penalty, oh no, they are going to send a New York player to the box.
Natalie Lauren Bernard.
But with the extra penalty, Minnesota will be down a player here, and New York will head to the power play. Now that's the right call. I mean, Minnesota started that whole thing, and they definitely should be down a player here.
This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel. And just like that, New York has its fourth advantage of the day. A bouncing puck may have caught the shoulder of Nicole Hensley. Cherkowski across for Fillier. Fillier has to settle. O'Neill shoves it toward the blue line, but it comes all the way back into the Sirens' end. Now Ann Cherkowski to lead the attack on the advantage. Fillier taken down by Curl.
Oh, wow.
May have just lost an edge, though. No call coming.
And looked live like it should be a tripping call, but no arm up from the officials, so either they saw something we didn't, or they just missed the call, one or the other.
Altunkova off the boards. Lauren sends it deep for the Frost.
But yeah, sometimes in hockey, it looks egregious, like it's an obvious trip, and then you look at it again, it's like, oh no, she just lost an edge. So that very well could have been the case there.
Pass zips across the ice to Maddie Wheeler. Wheeler into the corner. Out high to Bourbonnais, who takes a blast and it deflects it. May have caught a piece of Anna Borgman. Either way, New York is on the board.
Hensley immediately reacted that the puck was deflected in with a high stick. It did deflect off something. And you see the Frost fans in the crowd signaling no goal. We'll see what the officials decide, and they are going to take a look at it. This will be a good angle here, so you see. Oh, yeah, that's close.
But where did it make contact with the stick? This might take a few minutes to look at.
It's very close. The angle of the stick, part of the stick is below the crossbar, the other part of it's above it.
Look at Hensley. Before it even went in, she's saying high stick.
And goaltenders usually have a pretty good sense for this stuff, especially when the shot comes dead in front of them like that. And yeah, she knew right away that it deflected. Oh, it's so hard to say. I don't know. This might be too close to overturn. Yeah, I think that's the right call there. And as you mentioned, that's Barkman's third goal of the season.
And they're actually saying, good little nugget here, they're actually saying that it went off her helmet. Yeah. So it's not a high stick.
One angle, it looked like it goes off the stick, and the side angle, it looked like it maybe went off the helmet, but it was hard to tell in the replay where exactly, because her stick was almost right up against her head too, so it was hard to tell. So good eyes by the CSR and the officials as they make that determination, and if it goes off the head, it doesn't matter where the head is at, it counts all the same. So
now Barkman into the zone. As Simpson. Trying to wrap around his paint, Levis, and she scores! Don't go anywhere! New York with 2 goals, just about a minute apart. And now it's a 2-goal lead for the Frost.
Uh-oh, Minnesota might be in trouble here, Jamie. And you're kind of in that sweet spot of this third period where it felt like if they got a goal quickly here, you cut it to 2 with about 5 minutes to go, things can get a little interesting. And the play behind the net there, and then the wraparound by Levis, and because the play started from back behind the net, Nicole Hensley's playing deep in her crease. She's defending that goal line as a goaltender would when that play is behind them, and then the play comes out front. Hensley's still deep in her net, and Levis is able to knock it home.
Wow.
Well,
we've got ourselves
things.
a game. 2 goals, officially 1 minute and 15 seconds apart. It's Peyton Levis's 4th goal of the season, and maybe more interesting, 4 of her 8 career goals have come against her hometown team, which is the Minnesota Frost. She's from Rogers, Minnesota.
Well, New York scored 2 goals in each of the first 2 meetings against Minnesota. They have yet to surpass that mark this season against them, and they will need a few more here if they want to really make it interesting today. But the New York fans, finally something to cheer about here in this game.
Kaltunkova, centering pass, just out of the reach of Fillier.
Oh, if that pass would have connected.
Look out, Kaltunkova, right back in the circle. Down low for Fillier, Kaltunkova going to the net. Jinsey Rose looking for a tip in front. Rebound chance, and oh my goodness. Fillier with a nose for the net, and Maddie Wheeler was there too.
Minnesota's reeling a little bit right now. Those 2 quick goals hit them hard, and they're just trying to get their wits about them here with just about 4.5 minutes to go in this game.
Maddie Wheeler up high for Rose. Back to Wheeler. The backhand pass to Kaltunkova, tried to center for Fillier. And we are going to get another penalty. This time, Elizabeth Jaguar, the guilty party for the Frost. That will put New York back on the power play with 4.5 to go.
The way things have shaken out so far today, Minnesota can't jump anybody no matter what they do in this game. New York can, though. Even if they just get to overtime, things could shake up. So there's still some movement to be had, at least in the lower to middle part of the standings here today.
Sirens gain the zone once more, not for long as Britta Curl clears it all the way down to Kaylee Osborne.
And Minnesota, this is now 9 times a season, including today's game, where they've had at least a 3-goal lead at some point in the game. They haven't allowed any of those games to even make it to overtime. They've had 8 regulation wins in those instances so far this season. And they are hoping that stat does not change here today.
Just about 35 seconds to go on the advantage, and they score again! New York with 3 straight goals. This time it's Allie Simpson lighting the lantern.
And oh boy, if you did not have your seatbelt buckled already, I recommend you do that now because things are about to get interesting.
And that is your fresh play of the game, brought to you by Febreze, bites odors and freshens. Try Febreze today.
And a good screen out front on that goal. Nicole Hensley, I don't think saw that, or at least didn't see it until it was too late. And New York, I mean,
this is unbelievable.
It felt like they were in it early, but when Minnesota made it 4-0, it felt like this was Minnesota Minnesota's game to lose, and New York somehow has mustered the energy after Taylor Girard gets stretchered off in this game.
Look out. Here comes Curl. A chance and a save by Osborne.
Of the third period.
And now Minnesota can't afford to make another mistake.
59.
Imlerova has it along the boards, out to Heisey. Heisey thought about the shot, takes it, it's blocked. Curl on the other chance. And a heavy hit delivered by Curl on Koltunkova. Up the other way come the Sirens. Kristen O'Neill is in for New York.
And Osborne is heading to the bench.
There she goes, extra attacker on. Empty net. Heisey goes for it. Trying to connect with Shishova. Couldn't handle the pass and chases it down.
But the icing is waved off because of the contact made by Shishova. She's trying to eat some of the clock here in the corner.
Wheeler trying to settle it down.
Kind of a bold call by Coach Spargo. They did not have possession when they pulled Osborne. There was still 2 minutes to go.
Well, you hear the fans loving it here in Denver.
We can barely hear ourselves talk right now.
Once again, the PWHL delivers. What a game this afternoon. Another chance. El Harchi jamming away along the boards. Good try by Simpson trying to hold the zone, but it comes out to the neutral zone.
And you better believe Nicole Hens is probably a little shaken right now.
Look out, Grace Upwinkle! Empty net for the hat trick, but can't settle it. Great defensive work by Simpson. Now Heisey. Listen to this crowd. Kristen O'Neill, puck on her stick. Koltunkova trying to feed O'Neill. Taken away by Bookbinder, and Zumwinkle now tries to get it out. Trukowski holds. Steckline has it. Steckline. And a whistle.
I think we're going to get a hooking coming
I
here.
think so. I think Minnesota is going to go on the power play. Women's hockey won today.
And there you see Steckline trying to get that puck down the ice. Crowd rising to their feet here. Huge face-off here for both teams. Minnesota, you win this face-off and try to kill the rest of this clock. New York, you got to win this and get this down ice quickly.
And Heisey wins it to Curl. Curl
Big win.
to Morin. Somehow able to hold the zone, but Kristen O'Neill has it. Has Koltunkova with her. Kolty. Over to Fillier. Fillier shot high and off the mark.
Osborne back to the bench.
New York unable to hold. Here comes Heisey. And another great defensive play by New York to avoid an empty net goal. Koltunkova tries to connect and not in time. Nicole Hensley and the Frost hang on to win it in regulation. 4-3 in Denver. What a performance by both teams on this stop here in Denver on the Takeover Tour. Ball Arena and the Colorado fans showing out in numbers. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jamie Hirsch alongside Alexis Huss and Rachel Toss. We had so much fun with you today. We'll see you next time wherever you get your PWHL fix.